again, everybody, you know, thank you for tuning in to our virtual book launch for Black Conscious Christianity. I keep telling y'all, man, I got a crazy lineup of folks here with me to help me out. We got Tim Findley, Pastor Tim Findley of Kingdom Fellowship in Louisville, Kentucky. You guys know him, man. He's probably one of the most popular guys I know, so I'm glad to have him here. But listen, before we jump into the book, man, I just want to give him an opportunity to introduce himself, let y'all know what he got going on. Pastor Tim, man, floor is yours.
Man, listen, well, first, thank you for having me, and congratulations on the new book. I'm Tim Findley, pastor of Kingdom Fellowship Christian Life Center, founder of the Life Development Corporation. You know, we always got a lot going on. I think in these COVID times, though, you know, you can catch us online, and you know, that's about all I can plug right now.
Yeah, man, I know you guys just were dropping like the food boxes around town.
Yeah.
What's that about?
Yeah, man. Well, we're always looking to make an impact in the community. We're very community focused, as you know, just like Total Grace, a very community focused, community oriented church. And this was an idea that we thought would further our reach into one of the more systemic issues in our city, which is homelessness. And it's been sort of exacerbated by the pandemic, people losing their jobs. We have an exploding homeless population here in the city. So the food boxes were a way for us, not necessarily to feed people through meals, but snacks and sort of healthy kind of quick bites as people are going through their day and walking past the food boxes. So we put them strategically all around the city, and they're, you know, we've gotten a lot of positive feedback. And our hope is that other organizations and churches will follow suit, do the same thing, get their own food boxes, put them around, so that we can really, really help the people that really need our help right now.
Yeah, that's great, man. I love that idea. Like as you said, we try to do a lot of the same type things.
Yeah.
So yeah, my spidey senses start going off, man, when I what y'all are doing. So any TG watching us, man, y'all get ready. We're gonna try to move in the same direction. Well, cool, man. Again, pleasure to have you. Thank you for joining me with this, man. Kind of just jump right into a little discussion with the book, man, if you don't mind.
Absolutely.
What we got?
So, well, I'm gonna tell you this before we get started, man. I think the concept with the Lion King and how you approached it is super dope. And the way you drawn these parallels, I think it's very creative. And even as I was, you know, just kind of looking through how you were connecting different things, not only does it sort of draw our attention to the Christianity that we've been taught, and how you kind of pull things and show us that some of the things that we've been taught really, it's not something that is as relevant to us as I think we've thought all these years. But it also causes me to look at Lion King differently. You know, I think every preacher got sermons out of Lion King, but you might be that yours, you know, that's a whole different level. So definitely, man, it's an amazing, amazing book. And I would encourage everybody, you need to get this book. There are books that are entertaining. There are books that are chocked with all kinds of information. And then there are books that are just relevant to where we are as a people. And I think dropping this book, especially in this time with the current outgoing administration that we have, with the racial unrest that we have, Lord, with the evangelical church showing themselves, I think your book, the timing is crucial. So I would encourage everybody, you need to get, if you're serious about knowing what it means to be Christian, and understanding that you can be, as we say, woke and still a lover of Christ, you need to have this book. Definitely.
Man, I didn't pay him. I didn't pay him to say that, man.
Nah,
I appreciate it. Man, when I was talking with one of my mentors in writing the book, you know, I made it known that I wanted to publish it when I got done. And one of the things that he said is that this is a great subject, but it's not really something the average person is going to pick up off the shelf. So that's one of the reasons I tried to make that parallel. It's a high academic read, So to make it kind of relatable to all levels, man, I wanted to weave kind of those Lion King parallels.
Absolutely.
So hopefully it works.
Yeah, no, it definitely does. It definitely does. And I think, and I don't remember who it was, but I remember listening to a podcast, and a person asked a question to a scholar, a biblical scholar, what do Black Christians need the most? What do we need the most, period? And he said, we need more authors. We need more people to tell our story. Right now, if you go into any major bookstore, you go to Amazon, you go to any of these local Christian stores, whatever the case may be, you have all of these authors that don't look like us telling us what the history of Christianity is. When you go to seminary, systematic theology, church history, depending on where you go, they're telling us what their version of Christianity is. Yeah. And he said, we need more Black authors to draw parallels, to show that it's no question that Christianity is, not only is it not the white man's religion, but it is a book full of people of color.
Absolutely.
That is. So absolutely. It's needed, man. It's absolutely needed. And I think, even though, yes, it is a high academic read, I would still say everybody needs to get this. Even if you take it a chapter at a time, a sentence at a time, a paragraph at a time, and chew on it. You got it. That's what we need. We need it because we have been indoctrinated by systems and thoughts that are really, I think, sort of weaponized against us, even in the so-called, in many of these so-called churches.
Without a doubt, man. So one of the things I talk about early in the book is, like you mentioned, luckily at the release of this book, we're in a getting close to a post-Trump era. But in my research and writing the book, we were in the middle of it. Right? Yeah. So one of the things I speak about is that line that was drawn between white evangelical Christianity and the Black church. I mean, it's a big deal. People dismiss it, but it's a huge deal.
It's a huge deal.
Yeah, white evangelicalism has played a major part in the oppression of Black people from the very beginning, from blessing the slave ships as they get ready to leave the ports, gathering the church folk in the town square to watch a Black man being lynched, all the way to lining up behind Donald Trump and standing for white supremacy. So it's going to always be some tension between the Black church and the white evangelical church until they start to deal with some of the skeletons in their closet.
Until they repent.
Intentionally and directly deal with those. Yeah. Because as long as they stand on the side of white supremacy and the Black church continues to be an advocate of liberation, it's going to always bump heads, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah. So I think that was one of the reasons of writing this book, because when people say Christianity is a white man's religion, I mean, I understand it, right? If your view of Christianity is from the transatlantic slave trade forward, Christianity has horrible past that relates to Black people, right? But the thing is, in the book, we want to go further than that.
Right.
Christianity was a rich part of our African legacy, right?
Absolutely.
So, we just got to become knowledgeable, hence the Black conscious, right? When we become conscious of the role that we play in the Christian story, right? I did a couple of radio interviews, and one thing I keep saying is raise your hand, man, if you grew up thinking Christopher Columbus was a hero.
Right.
Most of us did. We thought he was a hero.
He was a murderer.
Homicidal lunatic, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, but as long as the story is told from the perspective of the hunter, is what I say in the book, then the lion is always the villain. So until the story is told from the perspective of the lion, man, you'll never get the truth of the lion. So that's the same thing with us, man. A book like this frees us to look at scripture, to look at the Bible, and interpret it through our own lens, right?
Right.
Nothing wrong with that. We should do that.
Well, yeah, and I think that even the whole notion, and I think that's what I walk away even, just examining the case that you've laid out in the book, the whole notion of a white man's religion And as I've even, just been in conversation and read and seen different things, the whole notion of a white man's religion started with white people, that they used that to tell us that we weren't capable of even understanding or being able to conceptualize what the Bible was all about. And then we took that and ran with it, and now we use that against each other. And I think, again, you make a great point now and in the book, that if your concept of Christianity starts at the transatlantic slave on, then yeah, you're gonna have a problem.
Right.
But it goes way further back than that. And I think that point right there will silence a lot of critics, because you can't dispute that. There's indisputable evidence.
Not at all, man. And then, in doing the research, it was amazing to me to see that change begins to take place, right? So if I start looking at Christianity from its inception, right, the African scholars, those who were trying to figure out and formulate what we believe today. I mean, what we believe today comes off the back of the African church fathers, right?
Right.
They were the originators of Christian thought. But as the process went forward, man, and Rome became a part of Christianity, when Christianity was adopted as the Roman religion, then the Romans began to dictate what Christianity looks like.
Right.
So going through seminary, I learned about all these heretics, like these people who believe this or believe that, and the church deemed them heretics. Well, I just kind of took what I was being taught at face value. But when I started doing the research on my own, man, it wasn't that at all, right? I mean, just Christianity was not well defined. And so people just had different views, right? And here's the interesting thing, man. Those different views, they were able to coexist. Like if you believe that you got to speak in tongues to be saved, and I believe that you got, like, we just coexist with those different beliefs.
Right.
But it wasn't until, again, this Eurocentric view, like this is the way Christianity has to be. And if it's not this way, then you're a heretic. So
they colonized Christianity. They attempted to colonize Christianity, and then that's the way of the oppressor. The oppressor will not tolerate any sort of divergent opinion. And I think, again, that's the point that's why, again, I recommend your book so heavily, because many people will have a hard time with a book like this, because we don't understand that even in our thought process, we think that we're free. We think that, we're following the way of Scripture, but really it's a Eurocentric sort of ideal of Christianity. And then we get so, sensitive when another competing thought is brought in, because it goes back to what you just said. That was the way of, that Roman idea. And I don't even know if it's the Roman idea of church. It was just really the Roman idea of Christianity, but it was more so about manipulation and control.
Yeah, that's absolutely the truth, right? But they did it so well, right? They did it so well. They did
it very well.
It continues to impact us and affect us today, right? So again, man, this idea of just waking up, right? So I love the idea of being woke, right?
Yeah.
Typically, the woke community are anti-religion. Right. So, but I think instead of competing, they really go hand in hand. Like, I want people to be woke. Like, one of the things I talk about in the book is a conversation that I had with a young brother who used to go to my church. I ain't seen him in forever. Ran into him at Kroger. Right. First thing, I'm like, "What's up?" Then he just go to explain it. Like, "Oh, I ain't been to church." You know how it is.
Where it goes.
I'm just trying to have a conversation, but he.
I've been going through a hard time, Pastor. Listen.
Yeah. But he came straight up like, "Man, I don't know if I believe now." Like, really? So what's going on? I've been talking to such and such. I've been watching this video. I done seen this, and the questions. He's like, I bring these questions to people I respect, in Christianity, and they can't answer them. Right? They can't answer. They can't answer questions when people hear for the first time that it's a whole lot of flood narratives out there, right? Like the story of Noah and the flood. Well, that story has been told umpteen times in different cultures at different times, earlier than the Noah story.
Right.
So again, when you hear that stuff for the first time, they never told me that in church, right? Oh, there are other beliefs in characters that kind of seem like Jesus.
Yeah, when you start getting into Osiris and others, and it's like, wait, he's just like Jesus. You know,
yeah.
yeah.
And if we're knowledgeable, it's easy to refute those things. Like, I ain't got time to get into it tonight, but hey, read the book and you'll see that.
Yeah.
But again, if we're knowledgeable enough, though, just conscious and knowing that there's some things that we need to be able to address, questions that come out of our community, right? So one of the big things in the book is a culturally relevant apologetic. That's what I call it, right? So it just means defending the faith in a way that answers our questions. Right, so if I've been to school, to seminary, taking apologetics classes, and they answer all these big questions, right? You know, does God? How do we know God exists? You know, all these big questions they answer. But traditional apologetics, man, it's not answering questions that our community is asking.
Absolutely.
So typically, if that's all we're doing, and we're guilty of that from the pulpit sometimes. We do these great sermons and we're addressing things, but we're not addressing the questions that people have
in
Christianity. Especially
it's not relevant.
I want to know.
Absolutely.
Yeah, hey, I'm a Christian, but Christianity was used to keep slaves in check. Christianity was used to prove that we were destined and ordained to be slaves. Like, so these are questions that our community has.
And we can't run from those questions. And I think that's the point. And it's good because, you know, and here's the point that people need to understand is that you may not have a background in apologetics or, you know, urban apologetics. You may not have a background, or you may not be as studied as a Dr. Michael Robinson. But when he provides a work that you can reference and use that in the context of, you know, the barbershop, the beauty shop, you know, you run into that friend at Walmart that you haven't seen in a while, and they're coming to you with this, which is what happens to a lot of us. I think that's where the need for this kind of reference material and work and education and knowledge is so important, because again, I think you hit the nail on the head. Traditional apologetics as taught in, you know, in many seminaries does not necessarily equate to the questions that we're getting, you know, like I said, in the barbershop, on the corner, the young brother at the protest who says, I would come to your church, but I don't believe all that, and this is what I believe. If you can't talk to that young man or that young woman, you know, I think that's where we're losing a lot of our ability to reach and evangelize this new generation.
Yeah, and because of a lack of knowledge from the pulpit, often they're just dismissed.
Absolutely,
they're dismissed. Oh, that stuff ain't true. You know, when the other side, like, I mean, I know you in Louisville, you've ran into some of the Hebrew Israelites.
Oh man, listen, they was outside of my church protesting outside of my church for about 3 weeks. I did a whole Bible study series on them.
The thing is, they learn the areas where we're weak. I'll say weak in general, where we're weak in, and they use those. Right? Go ask your pastor about Osiris.
Yeah.
Go ask your pastor about this, about that.
You know what's funny is that I was told, because one of my members, her nephew or cousin, is in this particular group of Israelites there in the city. But all them brothers, you know, I know some of them, good guys, so there's no, you know, I'm not shading them in that way.
Right.
But I was told that none of them were supposed to talk to me at all. Only the leader could talk to me. So even if in the protest, do not approach him, don't say nothing to him. And I think a lot of that was a part of the Bible study that I did that was online. Was I did like a 10-point reference where they say this, but this is what's really the deal.
Right.
They say this. And that's why when you have things like that, you can quickly reference, it just works. That's why I think the book, you know, I keep bringing it back to Black conscious Christianity, because it's important. We need to have these kinds of reference materials that are tried and true, so that we can answer our nephews, our cousins, our brothers, our friends. So yeah, it's important.
Yeah, and the thing is, man, that typically that problem is not a Kentucky issue. Like, you don't really see Hebrew Israelites or, you know, groups like that in large number, except like in the bigger inner cities. Now, Louisville, a lot different than Lexington, so you guys probably see a lot more than we do here. But
well, we have winning basketball and football here too, so that's one of the reasons why we're different. because we have winning sports. But go ahead. What were you saying? What were you saying?
It was breaking up. What you say? I didn't hear that. It was breaking up.
I said we have winning sports here in Louisville. But go ahead. I'm sorry.
we won't go into the tactics of getting them winning teams, though. We won't go into that.
By any means necessary.
Hey, we get accused, but y'all get convicted. Hey.
You know what? Hey, you know, hey.
Hey. Yep. So man, I can't wait to continue to kind of push. We got a lot of stuff set up, man. I'm doing like some online classes, just teaching the subjects out of the book, man. So we'll see where it lands.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Book is a required read, man. So I'm hoping everybody gets it. That's good. That's a good point. So again, I've been telling everybody, man, the book tonight is available on any platform. However, we're asking that you go to michaelrobinsonministry.com, michaelrobinsonministry.com, and purchase the book directly from us. That way you get an autographed copy and you get a discount. So again, you get the ebook, you get all those places. I'm not naming them because I'm not advertising for them. But anywhere you buy books, you can get our book. But we're asking, again, that you buy it from us, michaelrobinsonministry.com. And let me say, man, a pleasure to have a local hero, Pastor
Man, no, don't do that.
Really one of the front runners in pushing the protest with the whole Breonna Taylor issue, man. Glad to hear that it's not over. Amazed for the things that continue to be revealed about that, man. So keep pushing, man. I wish I was closer so I could get out there with you a little more often, man.
Man, listen, I know you praying, bro. That's what we need.
Without a doubt, man. And here if you need me, without a doubt. So
yes, sir.
Just a disclaimer. Several of the people that I spoke with, they've been good friends, man. So I just wouldn't want to get anybody on here, people that I know and trust that'll tell the truth. And then y'all want to help promote what they got going on as well. So if you're in Louisville and you're looking, man, to be impactful in the community, as well as be able to stand strong in the Word of God, go see my man, Pastor Tim, man, in Kingdom Fellowship.
On YouTube and Facebook. Don't come to the church.
YouTube and Facebook.
It's a pandemic.
Again, it's getting crazier. It's getting crazy.
It's getting crazier.
Go ahead and let you go, man. Again, thanks, Tim. I appreciate it. Hey,
man, anytime.
You promote this book. I think that it's a good resource for people, man. So
absolutely, anytime, brother. I appreciate you, man. And anytime you need me, I'm here. If I ain't locked up,
I'll be on bail money, man. And I pulled him off of vacation, man. So I'm gonna let him go and get some extra sleep, man. And hopefully I can jump on my vacation shortly, so I get ready for 2021, man.
Yes, sir. All right, brother. I'll talk to you.
I appreciate you, bro.